Hello everyone, hi, welcome. So we're just giving a minute just to sort of let everyone come in and join us. Hello everyone. So my name is Sharon Wood and I'm one of the aromatherapists here at Perfect Potion. Welcome. This is our third webinar, I think now. So we're getting a few familiar faces, a few regular attendees. So if you've been to one before, I hope you enjoy this one as well. And if you're new, welcome. I really hope that tonight you walk away with a little bit more knowledge about how you can use your essential oils confidently in your own life. As I said, my name's Sharon Wood and I studied at the Tisserand Institute in London in the 1990s, and I work as a practicing aromatherapist and also here at Perfect Potion. And if you I do a lot of the education programs for Perfect Potion. So if there's ever anything you're looking for, make sure you reach out, and it might be something that's upcoming on some of our education on our platform, and we can always go from there. But let's talk about tonight. So where are we? So tonight is how to choose your essential oils webinar. So I know this, yeah, we've all probably heard the saying, oils ain't oils, and that's really true when you're looking at essential oils. And the idea of tonight's webinar was to empower you with some simple tools that you can use when you are choosing essential oils. So when you're looking for essential oils, you can choose. And why do I think that's important? Well, I think obviously being able to choose your own oils and make your own choices is really important. There's a lot of marketing out there, and there's a lot of different companies doing different things, good, bad, and different, it doesn't matter. But what would be really powerful is if you can look at all this different information that you can access and be able to look at it from a point of view of, well, what do I need to understand and how can this empower me to make a better decision in my essential oil choice? So that's what today's about. We're going to start on, so what we're going to talk about is a few different aspects that I look at when I'm looking for an essential oil, and how you can keep these in mind for when you're choosing. So the first one is extraction methods. So essential oils are extracted in a number of ways. The most common is steam distillation. There's steam distillation, water distillation, steam and water distillation. So it's a really common way for essential oils to be extracted. Most essential oils are extracted in this way. And what it is normally the plant matter is put into a still, and water and heat are put into the still, and it causes obviously for the water to rise to rise. That takes the essential oil up. Then it cools and leaves the essential oil and the water. And of course, because essential oil doesn't mix with water, the oil sits on top and the oil can be extracted. And then the water can be used as well, and that's why it's so useful. So the water is often called hydrosols. So you'll see, Neroli water or Neroli hydrosol, lavender hydrosol, lavender water, rose hydrosol. So that's why this method is good. You're getting an essential oil, and you're also using the obviously the water that's used. So there's not a lot of waste, which is fabulous. So then there's the other method that we find common with essential oils is expression. So that's normally your citrus oils, or it is your citrus oils. And what in the past they used to sort of prick the rind and use force to sort of extract the juices. And it's really easy to get to experience essential oils with citrus. If you have an orange at home and you pierce the skin, the peel, you can almost feel it and smell it on your fingers, and that is essential oils. So it's quite amazing. Obviously, technology has helped things in these days, and they use a different form of mechanical expression now, where there's a centrifuge that centrifugal force that extracts the oil, and that's how the citrus oils are normally extracted. The last one is solvent extracted, and this is for essential oils, or plants that are it's a lot harder to extract. They're a lot more delicate. So essential oils like rose and neroli and jasmine, they can be steam distilled, but they get it's hard to get all of the essential oils from the rose petals and the neroli and things like that because of the and jasmine, because of they're so delicate, and the heat and that process actually damages the product, and they can't get it out. And so solvent extraction was used many years ago, and in its traditional form, it was big tables of animal lard were placed down, and then jasmine flowers, for example, were picked still to have dew on them, it was said, and then you'd place these flowers on this lard, and then they would wash it with an alcohol base and then extract that from the oil. They extract the oil from the alcohol and the lard, and there would be what they call absolutes. Now they use more solvent extraction. So they use, again, technology has allowed us to use different things that make it more practical, and they can still do this process. Now, why is that important? Like, what? Okay, that's really interesting, Sharon. Blah. Well, it's important because when you're choosing an essential oil, you really would like to know how it's extracted, because in using an oil like rose. So if you just see rose on a shelf, you'll want to know, is that rose otto, which is commonly steam distilled, or is that rose absolute, which is obviously solvent extracted? And why is that important? Well, although rose is beautiful, no matter which rose you have, and I absolutely love the rose absolute and the rose otto. Rose otto is more commonly used in skincare preparations. It's a softer, more gentle. For me, it just exudes this peaceful and beauty. It's just got this just bliss about it. Rose absolute's used more commonly in the perfumery area, and it's got still a deep rosy smell, but a heatier and a more, there's more depth to it, I would say. And because of these extraction methods, different chemical constituents exist in these oils, leaving some of the oils, reacting differently on our skin. So without going into it too much, because we've got so much to go into, and I'm already at almost 6:10, it's important to understand that where these are coming from. So try and see. Now, how do you know that? Well, most essential oils when you're purchasing it from a reputable company, will have how it's extracted in their information, and you'll be able to get that. So that's really important. Okay, so where are we now? Botanical name. Botanical names are a really important way of understanding essential oils, because it's there's different essential oils can be still having a common name. So for example, we could say we'll look at the marjorams as the example. So if you just saw marjoram on the label, you'd pick that up and go, great, okay, so what's marjoram? Well, when we hear marjoram, it's commonly sweet marjoram. So it's and that is more gentle. It's really good for muscle aches and pains. It's good for sleep. It's an excellent anti-anxiety oil. I use it quite often, marjoram, for those sorts of, for people who really need to just really calm down and relax. And it's commonly used. It's safe with children, obviously, and we can use it that way. Now, there's another marjoram that's obviously available, and that's Spanish marjoram. Now, Spanish marjoram is comes more from the oregano, the thyme family. So it has more similar effects like that. So it's really more antibacterial and antifungal, antiseptic sort of way, and it's and expectorant as well. And it's more commonly used. It can be for colds and flus, and typically it's not used topically on the body. It's used more in a diffuser, in an inhalation, whereas sweet marjoram I use commonly in my clinic for massage, aches and pains, muscular, arthritic or rheumatoid, sort of issues. So that's why it's important. Now, it's that you would not know if it's marjoram other than the botanical name, and it's something that's really, I find really interesting. So I'm going to give you a little tip as well, and we're full of tips here. When I was studying aromatherapy, learning botanical names seemed a little bit daunting. It was like, so you've got lavender, lavandula, angustifolia, bergamot, citrus begemia, black pepper, piper nigrum, Mei-Chang, Litsea cubeba. So some essential oils, their botanical names sort of connected, like lavandula, angustifolia, peppermint, mentha piperita. Like it was, some were logical and some are not, like Mei-Chang, Litsea cubeba. Like you go, okay, so how do you learn and remember these things? And I go back to your good old days of memory, or can you see them? Memory cards. So what I would do is on one set of cards, I write the common name, so bergamot, and on the other set of cards, I write the botanical name, citrus begemia. And what I would do is initially I would just play like memory, but being able to see them. Like, so I'd just connect them up and go, okay, this one's this one, this one's this one, and do it in sight. And then as I got more confident, I would pull out and take out just the botanical names, and I would just look at the botanical names and go, okay, citrus begemia, bergamot, piper nigrum, black pepper, and it just goes on and on that way. And I found that you'd remember them, you get a bit of a memory for them. And then I would do it the opposite way. I'd pick up my common names and I would try and remember the botanical name with it. So look, it's just, it's a way of getting more confident, because a lot of sites do only use botanical names. So you can really just look at that. And I think it's important to be able to recognize those and use them. So it's a really good habit to get into, and it's a really beneficial thing. You want to make sure you're using the right essential oil that you want to use. Okay, so what else is important when it comes to purchasing your oil? I think a really important part for Perfect Potion, I can say this with great confidence, is sustainability. Sustainability for our company is pivotal. There is I know our founders, Sal and Carolyn, both feel very strongly about this, very strongly. They are very ethically and socially committed, and it really does filtrate through right to our purchasing of our products. Now, to let you know, let me talk about it a bit more. So why is it important? Well, there are essential oils that have been, that are now on the near threatened list. There's oils that we used to buy readily, and now they, due to unsustainable farming, it became, they became like rare. And, again, ignorance is something that you want to be aware, you want to be connected, you want to understand. And there are essential oils that you need to be more aware of. Now, there's a really good link on our Perfect Potion website, and Deb's going to send that out to you. I think it's on the chat, and I think it's, in the link tomorrow. It's on the chat. It's on the chat. And what it is it's a link to our sustainability, and it goes into depth about, why we're committed and what we're committed and how and things like that. And we're talking about oils like frankincense. We're talking about oils like sandalwood. So sandalwood was, farmed so, do I say irresponsibly, that it became exploited. It really did. And there even became like black markets came up of the oils, and, it really became a genuine problem. And there was a real threat that sandalwood wouldn't exist anymore. And that, for all of us, would be a tragedy, because I think many of us would agree that sandalwood is an amazing oil, and that would be a nightmare. So thankfully, there are companies now, and the ones that we deal with here at Perfect Potion, Sal has personally met them and has seen these amazing facilities where they farm ethically and, in a way that's sustainable. Sustainability is oils of sandalwood. So Australian sandalwood, we personally, I know that we purchase from a very sustainable company. Now that's really important. There's other oils that you need to be aware of, as I mentioned, frankincense, and we don't even stock rosewood anymore. Rosewood was an oil that you could get many years ago. I still have a little bottle from, probably a decade and a half ago. And look, it is it was farmed in the Amazon forest, and it was tragic. And there's more information about that in Sal's Complete Guide to Aromatherapy, Volume 1, in his monograph, in his profile, essential oil profile for rosewood. It really just goes into it, and it is amazing. And so that's something that's obviously important from an ethical point of view, but also it's important if I believe, from a energetically, you want to be using essential oils that are, sourced from a place that's ethical. And so when you use the oil, the vibration is there. I know I might be getting a little bit out there talking, but that's personally, and it's only a personal opinion, of how I feel. So I feel that there's, essential oils have such a high vibration, and it's really important that you do that. Now, how do you find out then how your essential oil companies purchase their oils? Like, how do you know? We could be just telling you. Well, you look online, you do some research. So, any companies that have this as a priority would most likely have information. So like us, we have a blog that really outlines our sustainability commitment, and it talks about, where we farm from, what we do. And if you're really concerned, contact us, send us an email, send us a message and ask us, where do we source our things from? We may not get back to you straight away, but, it would happen. So, there are ways that you can take control of this yourself. Somebody just telling you that we source the best oils in the world, well, I can tell you that I'm the prettiest princess in the room. It's up to, that's just me telling you. It's you really need to do your own research and have your own opinion. So I hope that really helps and gives you an idea as to why it's important. So where are we going? So I hope you're still with me, and I hope it's we're getting there. Make sure any questions that you want, you're putting into the Q&A. We're going to have that soon, so we'll deal with some more. We've got 15 minutes there. So what's the next thing that's important when you're thinking about an essential oil and choosing yours? Well, this is the next one for me is part of the plant. So what part of the plant does the essential oil come from? Now, sometimes, again, you may not know. So if somebody tells you, you think about it, well, orange we'll use as an example. So from the orange tree comes 3 essential oils. From the fruit is bitter orange. From the flowers, flowers is neroli, and from the leaves and twigs is petitgrain. Now, if you were to smell all of these 3 oils, as delightful as they all are very different. So they have different properties. There's definitely a different chemical constituent makeup for them, and they're different in their use. Now, albeit petitgrain is commonly called poor man's neroli. Not very nice, is it? Neroli is an exquisite, delicate flower, and it is hard to extract the essential oil from the plant, as I mentioned in our earlier chat. And so that can impact the price of neroli. It can be less affordable. That's just unfortunately the way it is. However, neroli is also amazing. So it's also known commonly as the rescue remedy for the essential oils. So when stress, grief, trauma, it's neroli. Neroli is your go-to sort of oil. Now, petitgrain is commonly used even in a way to sort of support neroli. So say you do have neroli, but you've got a blend and you want to use neroli in it, you could possibly put like 2 drops of neroli. But if you wanted that beautiful citrus floral, joy that neroli is, you might want to add a couple of drops of petitgrain to enhance that beautiful smell, and it will complement it beautifully because it's got that synergistic blend because it's all from the same part, the plant. And I truly love putting together orange, neroli and petitgrain. It's a gorgeous blend if you want to give it a try and let me know what you think. Now, so that's important to know because you want to know what part of the plant you're using and what oil. But the other important way to think about it is the different parts of the plant do different things for us. And again, I haven't got time to go into it, but the aroma tree is your gift for this one. If you want to know anything about parts of plants and how they impact, this is your book. So aroma tree goes through and looks at each of the different parts of the plant and how they impact us. And without going into it too much, because I'm very aware of the time, what we need to do is, if you think about what that part of the plant does for the plant, it commonly does for us. So the leaves of a plant, well, they breathe for the plant, don't they? That's how they breathe, And if you think about the essential oils that come from leaves, they're really good at helping us to open up our airways and breathe. So they're really good for colds and flus, for sinus, for, heady sort of stuff. They also energetically open up open us up to ideas. So they're open to the world. And that's another really beautiful way of looking at them. The flowers are, the reproductive part of the plant, and the essential oils that come from flowers tend to be very good at that. Rose, jasmine, they're very good at those gynae sort of things, or, sexual reproduction, anything like that, or even sensual things. That's really good as well. And we give flowers for grief and we give flowers for love. And so they tend to be really good with that as well. The other, and as I said, each of them I go through. So I'm aware of time, but the roots of the trees are very grounding for the plant, and they ground you and make you feel, planted and secure. And the essential oils that come from roots do that for us. So vetiver, valerian, ginger, they're that really source of strength, and that's good. The trunk or the wood of the tree that holds the tree strong, that is comes from, the tall part of the tree, like the whole tree. Well, it's the trunk of us as well. So often dealing with things from laryngitis to cystitis, anything that's sort of in that area. And also from an energetic or emotional point of view, they're very good at confidence. They're good at keeping you strong, keeping you feeling tall, keeping you feeling, confident. So that's why that's, interesting. And it goes on. And if you look at each of the part, you can actually see how that impacts the tree. You can see that impacts us. Now, that's helpful because say you're in, you're somewhere and you see an oil that you've never heard of before, and you think, well, I've not heard of this oil. I have no idea what it's good for. If you can find out what part of the plant that it's been extracted from, then that may give you an indication. Now, it's not a hard and fast rule, but it is generally very good for most oils. So, it's a good guideline. It's a good, good sort of place to start. And that's why it's another thing that empowers you with information that allows you to make choices for yourself. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Then we've got the next thing to think about is the chemotype. Now, when we talk about chemotypes, we're talking about essential oil chemistry, and it can be, we don't want to get too technical here, but it is an important thing to consider. So many essential oils have actually even the same botanical name, but depending on where they're grown, what soil they're grown in, how much they're fertilized, how much sun they get, like all of these things impact the actual plant. And so the same common oil, like for example thyme, with the same botanical name, can have very different essential oils, and they are your chemotypes. That's what it's known as. Now, it's really interesting. Essential oils like thyme are the most common one to have this sort of this issue, this issue. And you can again download on Salsa. I think Deb's sending a link with this tomorrow with your email. And it's on chat as well. And it's essential oil monograph on thyme, and it runs through the different chemotypes that of thyme oil and how they are so significantly different. And they really are. There's, thyme oil, there's some that you can, use that are more gentler, some you tend to not use on the skin. Like it is really important to know. And it's important to know because some of these oils have beautiful gifts. They're amazing to use. You don't want to not use them because you're worried that, I could be using one that shouldn't be used on the skin and it should. And that's why understanding its chemotype can give you the confidence to go, okay, I'm going to look this up. I'm going to see this. Okay, it's got this, this is where it's from. This is the chemotype, and therefore this is how I can use it. Now, do you have a look at that essential oil monograph, and you'll be able to, really understand what I'm talking about when I talk about different chemotypes. But we're at 6:29, and I've got one more thing to talk about, and it's the certificate of analysis. Now, essential oils, when companies receive essential oils, they should do what's called a certificate of analysis. They should look at the essential oil because, as I mentioned, oils aren't oils, and sometimes oils can get slipped through and miss through the cracks if you don't have this. And so we do an essential oil analysis, and what it does is, so personally, if you have a Perfect Potion pure essential oil, so it's only for the pure essential oils, because obviously you couldn't do it for blends, because there's, you know, blends with 21 oils, you'd have to have a chemical, a bit crazy talk. But this is pure essential oil. So this one, for example, is Ylang Ylang Complete. On the label, on the bottom where the barcode is, there's 6-digit number on the right-hand side of this label. This one is 026054. And what you do is you see that number, 026054. Oh, no, it's a different batch, sorry, but I'll do it. And you put, if you go to the Perfect Potion website and you click on Learn, and then you click on Certificate of Analysis, you will then be able to put that 6-digit number into there, and up will come an essential oil data profile sheet for you that you can then see. So you have access to this. You can print it off and keep it. And on here it tells you, you know, what the oil is, its botanical name, its extraction method, it says what country of origin it's from, and then it talks about, you know, its odor intensity, but it has a chemical composition data part that gives you a list of the chemical constituents that are in the oils. And again, if these sorts of things interest you, this is where you want to, you know, take some time again with and get familiar with the Complete Guide to Aromatherapy Volume 1, where it has where Sal really does go into each essential oil and really talk about that. I love doing it. It just gives you some confidence, and you can really look at any oil. Just spend some time on it. And I would suggest that if that's, you want to be able to access information like this. This is, I know it sounds like I'm plugging Perfect Potion, and you know what? Maybe I am, because I'm very proud of the ethical stance that we take on things, and that we are committed and transparent in what we say, and we don't just sort of say something. There's a lot of evidence there for you to just, you know, do it. And I'm not saying you have to buy from us, but make sure companies that you use, you know, you're empowered to look for these sorts of things, because this information is very important for you, and you know, so you can use what you're after. So I've gone over. I'm 6:32. Goodness me. But that gives you a guideline, I hope, of what you're after. And so now we're going to open up to the Q&A. Remember too that if you have to go and you can't stay for the chat, that the Q&A, that the email will come out to you tomorrow with a link to all my courses that we do here at Perfect Potion. And then there's also Sal's amazing masterclasses. And if you haven't already looked at the some of his really his new classes, there's some really fabulous stuff going on there as well. So have a look. I sound like Molly Marjoram because I have to say myself, you know, do yourself a favor, but it really is worth it. And you'll also get a coupon code tomorrow that you can use. I think that's in the chat as well, that Deb's doing if you wanted to have a look at anything today. You'll get a link to the certificate of analysis link and the Facebook group. I hope you're all members of the Facebook group already, but if you're not, you know, pop on. And remember that that group is really about supporting each other in our learning from aromatherapy. So, you know, I really encourage you to be active on there. Ask some questions, let me know, and let other people get involved in it. It's a community, and that's what we want. Okay, so now for the Q&A. Here we go. So what I'll do is anything that I'm not, you know, haven't got the information for you right here, I will actually, I can answer them later. Yeah, so I'll send you an email back. So anything that you've put on here, that's all good. I will do that. So there's so much. Thank you, everyone. There's I don't know where to start. So I'm like a kid in a candy shop right now. And there's going to be way too many. And actually, if you're okay with this, I might even answer some of these on the Facebook group tomorrow. That might be, then everyone can get involved rather than me just putting it on just back to you. So I might just put the answer. So yes, if you're not, if you don't get to them, we'll go from there. Thank you. These are all gold because this will be keeping me busy for a couple of days to get this done. So thank you. I'm wondering if I have a list of oils combined. Yeah, look, I'll deal with that one. Yeah, that's all good. And I love your message. Thank you. Potent oils. Okay, let's do this one. Should we use potent oils light-handed? Well, the truth is, I use all my oils quite light-handed. I think if I'm getting what you mean in a smaller amount. And the answer to that is absolutely. I am a firm believer that essential oils have a strong vibration, and you don't need to be overpowered by the aroma to get the benefits of the essential oil. You need to really connect and use them. And that's why it's also good for that from a sustainability point of view. You know, you don't want to be going through oils all the time. And, you know, I have my own clinic, and it's really important that I'm not wasting oils. So, and I often will make up a blend in a 50 ml bottle, and I'll only make it at a 1.5% blend and fill. And then at the end, even at the end, when I've used half the bottle for the massage, I would fill the bottle up with more base oil and give that to the client. And although it has diluted the essential oils, I find that it's the impact is really effective. So it depends on what you're trying to treat, obviously, if there is something that you're actually wanting to look at. But yes, I do tend to use most of my oils in a little bit of a light-handed way, especially essential oils that are quite intense in their aroma. That would be a definite. Oh, thanks, Robbie. You love the series. That's so sweet. What makes essential oils better for? Okay, this was interesting. What makes essential oils better for water diffusers compared to? Let me answer that one live. To traditional burners and vice versa, and why is eucalyptus such an effective household cleanser? Well, we'll talk. I'll look at all of that one for you, but if eucalyptus and lemon, some of their chemical constituents really do help to cleanse and clear, and that is, you know, they're just really potent in that way. It also means it's sometimes why some people can actually react to lemon and eucalyptus if they're used on the skin. So they're ones that you're a bit light on with. So essential oil. Lemon has limonene in it, and it can be, if it's used in different dilutions, can be that, because it's really effective in those other ways. What makes essential oils better for water diffusers compared to traditional oil burners? Well, the truth is that there's no essential oils that are better to use in either way, to be honest. The thing about diffusers is that they tend to be a more effective way of using the essential oils. And if your question's where I'm getting at, traditional burners, you would put the essential oil in, and I still have some in my clinic, and you put the water, fill it up with water, put a little tea light under, and put your essential oils. Well, the thing is that if the way they are in that open up version, out to the room, essential oils, especially from like a citrus oil, like they're highly volatile essential oils, so they tend to evaporate really, really quickly. So those essential oils tend to be more, regardless of what sort of diffuser you're using, they'll be more volatile and will go first. And then your heavier oils will take more time. So that's where that one is. I hope that makes sense. Wow, where are we with time? We're all good. Oh, actually, a really good question that I didn't answer was about the shelf life. Thank you. So is sandalwood an essence that should be able to smell? And do some essences have a shelf life? I know they have an expiry date where they cannot smell them anymore. This is a really important one. I'm sorry, I have missed it. I can't believe I've done that. Thank you. This is a great question. So I've never smelt sandalwood from Egypt. I'd have to ask Sal about this one. I'm sure that he has got it. I absolutely can smell a scent from my Australian sandalwood. It is absolutely beautiful. It's got a soft woody note that just calms me, and there is definitely a scent. So I do. Now, remember that when you smell something, your nose fills up, all the receptors in your nose fill with this smell, and they can ultimately block it in a way. And then when you walk out of a room, like say there's a smell in there and you smell it and all of a sudden you can't smell it anymore. You'll walk back out, and then after about 5 minutes, you'll come back in and you'll go, oh, I can smell it again. And that's because your nose has, emptied out, like it has cleared, and then you've gone back in and you've re-smelled. But I would say that you should be able to smell essential oils, and you don't want to miss sandalwood. It's too good an oil to do. Now, the expiry date question, really good question, because there is something that's really important about using essential oils that are out of date, and that is that they can oxidize. So some essential oils can oxidize and change in a way that they can become skin irritants. So you really do need to heed your expiry dates on some oils, especially the citrus oils and things like that. They can really be, they're oxidizing, can leave your skin a little bit of an irritant. So yes, it is important. Now, in saying that, as I mentioned before, I've got a couple of bottles of oils that would be almost a decade old. Now, you will, personally, you can smell when essential oils are rancid. If they're stored well, and if they're stored in a dark, cool place, and if they're, well looked after, then in some cases essential oils will be fine. As I said, I have oils I've got some beautiful Ayurvedic oils, and I've got some gorgeous wood oils that have been with me for years, and it's just important that you're aware of them. And I would strongly suggest that there is any essential oils that you're using that are out of date, that you do a patch test. So what that is a patch test is you can put a drop of the oil on a sensitive, sort of more sensitive area, like here on your your arm, your hand, below your wrist. And if it reddens and it's a little bit thing, then I'd be ditching it, because it's quite possibly that it's leaving you a bit irritated. Now, remembering that essential oils can irritate your skin using it pure anyway, but it would be something so a patch test is what that's called, and I would definitely recommend you do that. I hope that is answering your question. There's another one here. Let me have a look at it. Does aromatherapy include mixing different oils? How many drops per oil, or is this information elsewhere? Do have some pre-mixed? Yeah, good. Yeah, great question. The aromatherapy book isn't a blending book. So if you're wanting things that's got lots of recipes and in it, it's got some, and definitely in each area, like there's when Sal talks about each part of the plant, at the back he talks about what mixes well, which I really like in my blending. I've just done a blending course. I don't know how many of you have had a chance to have a look at that, but Sal talks about that these that blends go well. So there's not so much an actual recipe book. This is more of the concept and the understanding how it impacts and how it changes and how to use your oil. So that's where that is at. Now, but you asked where you could. Well, I would strongly suggest you look at the creative blending course, because there are a lot more blends in there, and that that gives you a bit more confidence. And the blending books are really about learning how to give you more confidence in doing your own blends. That's what we're looking for, Catherine. I hope that helped. Which book is on your website would be recommend for a beginner starting out? Well, again, I've mentioned a few times, it's the Complete Guide to Aromatherapy, Volume 3. Volume 1, Volume 3, I'm a bit ahead of myself. Volume 3's out. So now I'm getting confused. That's Sal's fault. He writes too many books. I would say that the Complete Guide's a really good book in the sense that it gives you an outline of the history, it gives you an outline of all of the fundamentals of aromatherapy, and then it goes into depth with all of the monographs, and you can lose yourself in this book. I really do genuinely believe you can. It's not heavy going. You're not going to read it from front to back and think it's a novel. There's a lot in there, but I tend to destroy my books with I'm a highlighter pen girl, and so I have highlighter pens. I have little sticky notes all throughout them, and I strongly recommend you do that because it's one of those books that you always go back to. In my clinic, I'm always pulling it out and having a read of different oils and what to do about that. Keep an eye out there, mate. We're always producing new things. Sal's always got stuff on the go, and he did write a beautiful book called The Enchanting Art of Aromatherapy, and has spoken about maybe resurrecting that. So without overcommitting him, as he's not here and he'll probably kill me for doing so, you never know. I'll keep an eye out. So we have reached 6:45, which means all these amazing questions, and there are so many. I'm so grateful. Thank you for this. It shows that you've that you've listened. You're here. I promise that I will now answer all of these on our Facebook group. So make sure you join the private Facebook group, which is the Perfect Potion Facebook community. And I will make sure I pop them all on here. And yes, I will talk about a few different things. There's so many great questions. I really appreciate them, and I really hope that you've enjoyed it. I know there's just so much to say, and you can tell by who I am. I could talk until all your ears fell off. But I just want to say thank you very much. Thank you to Deb, who's been here typing away, type, and get active on the Facebook, and we'll see you in the next seminar. Thanks very much, everyone. Thank you. Bye.